Hello and welcome to Longship Gaming. It is our 2023 retrospective, published on the last possible day of 2023, but hey, I got it done. We're going to go over some year in review highlights. I say highlights because there were really no lowlights, except for maybe one thing, but we'll get to that in a second, for 2023. So we've got fewer releases than 2022, but with a caveat. We got player side schemes. We got the pool aspect. Aerial and Psionic archetypes got a lot of help. We got some significant protection and justice cards. I'm going to state who I think was the most improved hero of 2023. And overall was a good year. Both what I think and I would love to hear what you think. So for 2023 releases, in February, we had Gambit and Rogue that closed out Mutant Genesis. And then we had a very seemingly forever 7-month gap before Next Evolution came out. From a content creation perspective, that's kind of rough. But we got a chance to play older heroes, older scenarios, really dig into Mutant Genesis over that time, using a lot of the new cards. So it was still fun. Just, it was strange not to have the constant drip feed of content that we've been used to previously. So then in October, we got Psylocke and Angel. And November, we got Deadpool and X-23. So we had roughly half the releases of 2022. That looks to be not the same in 2024, since you already know that the first cycle's coming out in March. Hopefully we're back to what we were release-wise in 2022. But it remains to be seen. So a big addition for this year, of course, are player side schemes, introduced with Cable in Next Evolution. I think that now that we have a full suite of these covering different aspects, all the aspects have their own player side schemes, I think we're always going to see 2 added into decks. So initially I was sort of like, I don't know whether or not these have a lot of value to heroes outside of Cable. But as the fantastic deck designers who publish their decks on the Marvel Champions database, thank you for all of you. I don't have the time to build my own or really think about building my own. So I am very appreciative of all the work that you do out there for that. Just want to put that out there. So I think the best 2 out of all of them are Build Support and Super Power Train, because they are basic cards, but they allow for playing different cards with different heroes that you normally wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to give a quick example here. There was a Black Panther leadership deck that I played on the channel that included the leadership side scheme that allowed me to get Gamora out. Normally you wouldn't. That coupled with being able to use Build Support to put out the Weapon X program that allows you to go fishing for events. Those 2 alone, because Gamora allows you, every time she attacks or thwarts, you can go looking in your deck, top 5 cards, I believe, for a identity-specific event. Of course, you're looking for Wakanda Forevers. It made it extremely efficient that you're always going to be finding Wakanda Forevers for when you need them. It turned into a very powerful deck by playing cards that you normally wouldn't be able to. So I think these are fantastic. They only cost 1 to put out. They have very low threat thresholds, as I said, when it comes. I play solo. They're great. And of course, we have the nature of the deck thinning, because these go into the victory pile. They're removed from the game. Even thinning your deck by 2 cards or more over the course of a game works out very well. A great new one, actually, that came with X-23 is Specialized Training, which introduced the linked keyword. So this is linked to permanent specialization upgrades that basically give you a +1 to one of your basic aspects. So from a solo perspective, you're always going to be taking the +1 attack or +1 thwart. But that one adds up over the course of a game if you can get this out early. The only detriment, of course, is that this is a 5, so it is a little harder to complete. But it allows you to either go really hard on your best aspect or bolster the one that you're the worst at. You're rarely going to be playing the +1 to defense. But, I mean, there's some heroes that will. But for the most part, I wonder if this will become more common in decks going forward, like these 3. Again, it doesn't hurt to thin your deck down by 3 cards, especially in late game when you have tons of upgrades and supports out. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed these. The other ones that are aspect specific, I really think you have to add these with the notion towards the scenario you're particularly playing, or to bolster some kind of weakness in your deck, for example. So then we got the pool aspect. Now I know that pool is a bit controversial in the same way that Spider-Ham was. And I don't think all the pool cards are necessarily good or playable. And some just feel like straight up cheating. So the one that allows players to basically take a rest and heal to full, no one's really ever going to be taking the rest. They're just going to play the card. I mean, if you're playing multiplayer, maybe I can see that being great or fun to do if you need to, because multiplayer games are going to go much longer so taking a break is not too bad of an idea, and it affects all the players who are playing in that game. However, from a solo perspective, I would probably never do that. I feel that all the minions are not created equal. Like head pool, dog pool, panda pool. Kid's okay. I think Let Eat Dead pool is the one that if I were to play the pool aspect and I needed a non-basic ally to put in the deck, I would always have Lady Dead pool. She's very efficient. I'm not really concerned about this +1 boost icon most of the time. I think she's fantastic. And late game, and only late game would I ever play Live Dangerously or I Got This. This plus a number of these in your hand does an incredible amount of work. The first Deadpool game that I played had this in late game, and I think 2 copies of it, and just his own strength to attack the enemy over and over and over did an incredible amount of damage in the last turn. Self-confidence and the other 2 cards that are in the resource cycle are incredible. Triple resources if you've taken no damage. So if you get these early, like really early, even 2 if you've taken 5 or less damage, but 3 resources that's astonishing to be able to play right off the bat to get some significant support or upgrade cards out. Much like stick-to-itiveness, so spend a strength resource and exhaust this card, ready your hero. I can't think of any hero that wouldn't want that. So probably I feel the strongest upgrade out of everything in the pool aspect. I mean, it's not a very deep pool, as it were, yet. We're probably not going to get any more pool aspect cards until Gwenpool, but I really don't anticipate seeing Gwenpool for a very, very long time. So the pool aspect is somewhat limited. I think it's probably going to get solved pretty quickly by deck designers into what the best sort of core of the pool cards are. But I look forward to seeing how they're used in the future. I had a lot of fun playing with them, but they are not the be-all and end-all of aspects. I don't think they're necessarily broken. They certainly have their problems as a set overall, but still, I look forward to seeing what deck designers do going forward. So Aerial and Psionic got huge upgrades this year. Aerial has been around for a long time as a keyword, but never really utilized that well, or is extremely expensive to do that. Now that we have Power of Flight as a resource card, and Aerial impacting cards in every aspect, I think that you're going to see this become much more potent, especially for those. There are tons of heroes that can get aerial, um, but for those heroes that have built-in aerial, and there aren't really that many, um, it's going to be significant. And I think amongst that, if you're really focused, if you have an aerial character, it's best to focus really on aerial. Cannonball is fantastic because if you use him early in your turn, you are more than likely, if you're leaning heavily into aerial, that he's never going to take any consequential damage. I'm surprised that this one wasn't, reduce it to a minimum of 1, but reducing it by X for either a 2 thwart, his cost of 3, 2 thwart, 2 attack. The 2 health means nothing if you're never taking consequential damage. You could Voltron him up in certain aspects to the point where he is absolutely just going to be there all the time. Just a fantastic addition to the game. If not a little maybe overpowered, but we'll see. Again, aerial being fairly limited in terms of the number of heroes that actually have built-in aerial. We'll see. But we have ways to prevent damage. We have ways to add damage by exhausting aerial characters. So if you have an aerial character out there, you don't want to you just want them out there flying around all the time. Maybe a low-cost one. Just use them for this function, either doing damage, 3 damage to the villain and each minion engage that player for 2 for bombs away. That is amazing because it's an aerial character. It's not even your hero. It can be a low cost aerial minion or ally. Just incredible. And of course, throwing acrobatics. If you're playing aerial, you're never not playing it. So when an aerial character you control uses a basic power, exhaust throwing acrobatics, that character gets +1 to that power for this use. Amazing. That one really does add up. And then of course then we have Psionic. Psionic got huge upgrades, but it took, so just in the same way that aerial, a lot of those cards came with Angel, Psionic, all those cards that came with Psylocke are pretty significant. So it made cards like Scimitar or Scimitar even better. So play another Psionic card, exhaust Scimitar, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If you're leaning hard into Psionic, that's just pinging for 2 every so often. If you've got leftover resources, but you've got telekinesis and telepathy out, both of which on point are only 1 cost upgrades, so, and they're superpowers, so Def Focus, you can get those out for nothing. Spend Genius resources, deal 3 damage to an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. That's not bad that you can do over and over and over again. If you have, again, the leftover, whoops, too far. If you have the leftover energy to do it. And then you got things like Scyflail Strike, so attack Psionic. After you defend against an enemy attack, deal 3 damage to that enemy and stun it. So that's fantastic for a 2 cost event. It's an attack, it's a defense. 3 damage and stunning, great stuff. Of course, there are a bunch of others, but these are the ones I just wanted to focus on here. We got some great Justice and Protection cards. Taunt is significant. I think there are plenty of characters that can get up 1 or 2. Like, it's best used for characters that can be up 2 cards rather than just the 1. And I'll get to that in a minute. But card draw, that's how you win games. You win it off of card draw, and there are plenty of heroes out there that can take that attack, especially early in the game, to get that extra card draw, just to fuel you better. So health is a resource, and that's what this one is. I think Taunt is going forward for some heroes is absolutely crucial in the protection aspect. But Justice, upside the head. This card makes, as in a 1 cost event, upside the head, after your hero makes a basic attack and damages the enemy, confuse it. If that enemy is already confused, stun it instead. This makes Justice even better to stun lock. Miles Morales or Captain America. It would make certain matchups against certain villains absolutely trivial. Extremely potent, a one-cost event after using a basic attack. Amazing stuff to be able to confuse or stun. And of course, you couple that with Float Like a Butterfly. When a character you control attacks a confused enemy, increase the amount of damage that attack deals to the enemy by 1, and that's an upgrade. And that's all the time. So, get them confused and you have ways to do multiple attacks. My goodness, that is a lot of damage. So I think these three, I mean, we got a lot of different, protection and justice cards, but these are probably the most potent ones and important ones that came out this year. Especially so they don't require an archetype either. You can just play them. So my vote for the most improved hero of the year, and it dovetails into what I've just talked about in other parts of this roundup. My opinion is Phoenix. So Phoenix, I feel, was in a pretty rough spot when she was released. She has extremely expensive cards, so her signature ability, like Mind Control to take over a minion, that's a 4-cost card. Well, now we have Power of the Mind to make that cheaper, for one thing. Much more efficient to be able to play that out. And she also gets great benefit out of side schemes and out of taunt. So a great scenario here would be turn 1, you have taunt in hand, you're at full health at 9, you can weather taking a hit from the villain if you want to, right? I mean, you can always defend. You're not really doing much else maybe on that turn. You're spending your your Phoenix Force counter, one of your starting 4 Phoenix Force counters to play taunt in the first place. You're up 2 cards right away. Not only that, when you look at the side schemes, so if you have Superpower Training or Build Support, she has a 3 thwart. So she can get her player side scheme, one of those 2 player side schemes out for free, and thwart it on turn 1, and then get either get a support or a damage specific upgrade. So for her, for example, you could get the Phoenix Force for free. Well, for free. Other than the cost of the card here itself. Thin your deck a bit, get the Phoenix suit out, and then get Aerial. And steady, like right away and steady, which is really good. So now she has aspects. She can either go heavily into Aerial, or she can go heavily into Psionic, or a mix of the two. Huge benefits from that because it's so easy to get that out. And build support for anything you want. If you're playing leadership, get out Utopia. Get out any one of those fantastic X-Men upgrades. So I think she has improved so drastically, and I look forward to playing her more in 2024 against a variety of villains. But she really went from extremely mediocre, if I don't want to necessarily say bad, I don't like saying bad about a lot of cards, but extremely difficult to run compared to how powerful she's supposed to be, into a real contender for one of the better heroes in the game. Very specific kinds of ways, either in protection or, well, any other aspect, as long as you have access to these two. And it wouldn't be very difficult for maybe on turn 1 to be able to get the specialization training out as well and really boost up her abilities. So I'd like to know what you may think who your most improved hero was of 2023. So overall, was it a good year? Was 2023 a good year? We had mostly strong hero releases. I think Psylocke and Angel were fantastic in terms of what they brought to the game. I apologize if you can hear some weird sounds in the background. My dog is having her drink of water right next to me. She's very sloppy about it. We had greatly improved archetypes in Aerial and Sonic. Actually making Aerial, I think, a proper proper archetype that you can play across a variety of heroes now. It's great now that we can more efficiently cheat out cards to improve older heroes, as I said, like the Black Panther scenario with Gamora and Weapon X. I feel that Next Evolution is not quite the walled garden that Mutant Genesis was, and what I meant by that was Mutant Genesis had a lot of X-Men only upgrades and supports that really didn't affect anything much else in the game. But as I said, with especially with Ariel, it allows so many more opportunities for interesting archetype gameplay outside of just the mutant cycles, I should say. I think there's less value in it compared to Mutant Genesis and Core. So what I mean by that is there were so many really good mutant specific cards in Mutant Genesis. Colossus and Shadowcat are both fantastic for box set characters. So you could have Mutant Genesis and Core being, I think you could be very happy with that for a very long time and not really need anything else. I don't think you get the same value out of Next Evolution because you really do need, well, especially Psylocke, I feel, to bring a lot, with the cards that were in her pack, a lot to be brought to the game. I just noticed I've blocked off this last part of the word here. Oh well. I don't feel that X-Force supports were as impactful as the X-Men ones. I don't really see them played very much or in lists for X-Force characters. Nothing compares to like a Utopia or Moira McTaggart, for example, with like the eye pack, for example, or their bunker. I just feels off and not as impactful. But overall, you know, Marvel Champions did much more with less in 2023. Much fewer releases, but I think they were very significant. So adding in pool as a new aspect, adding the player side schemes, improving or, you know, actually solidifying a couple of aspects, I think that's been fantastic for the year. But overall, was it a good year? Yes. For me, because of all of you. It's been a fantastic year. That's the end of the second year of this channel. Not to an anniversary yet. That's coming in February. But it has been a great year. Lots of great feedback from viewers. We did pass 500 subs. And I just want to thank every single one of you, anyone who's ever watched the channel, who have liked, subscribed, commented, all of that. It's been great. And I'll continue doing it because it's continuing to be fun this whole time. And that is, of course, because of all of you. So let me know what you thought of 2023, what you'd like to see going forward in 2024, what you'd like to see from this channel in 2024, because I have some ideas for improvements, but it's all about whether or not I have the time to do it. But again, I am extremely appreciative of everyone who has ever been interacted with this channel in any way. It's been great. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing what's coming up in 2024 and what I can put up on the channel for you. So until next time, Happy New Year. And here's to a fantastic 2024. Thank you so much for watching Longship Gaming. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It will really help the channel to grow and improve. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when more Longship Gaming content goes live. Until next time, happy gaming.